Hi everyone, it's your boy Robert here. Today I'll give you a brief overview of what you'll find in Rome as a first-time tourist and some tips to make your holiday worth remembering. I was on holiday with my family in Italy during the summer of 2023 for 6 weeks. I set the last week aside to explore Rome and to make a video of what is my favorite city in the world. We took a train from Foggia to Rome Termini, the central railway hub of the city. As we traveled north from southern Italy toward Rome, the landscapes slowly transformed. The scenery became greener and more lush, while signs of urbanization and industrial development increased, making a clear shift from rural regions to more densely developed areas. We stayed in a large loft-style studio Airbnb, which cost €139 per night and was the most affordable option available, as Rome was almost fully booked. We chose it mainly for its location in the heart of the historic center, just 1 block from the Pantheon. This meant we could visit one attraction at a time, return to rest, and then head out again, while always staying within 2 kilometers of Rome's major sites. This is an important strategy because walking is the most reliable, affordable, and convenient way to explore the city, so good walking shoes are essential. The apartment itself was ideal, with a fully equipped kitchen, a comfortable bathroom, a double bed, and a double sofa bed. Initially, it was my wife, son, and I on the trip. When we arrived, I phoned my father and invited him to join us since there was an extra bed available. He joined us the next day and also brought along some food to cook. Just bear in mind that Airbnb adds an extra charge for each additional person beyond the base price. I won't spend too much time on food as I'm no expert, but if you enjoy cooking, an Airbnb is a great option. Just keep in mind that supermarkets in Rome's old city charge higher prices. Restaurants near major attractions are also more expensive, so I'd recommend small fast food cafes. They offer authentic Italian food with shorter wait times and more affordable prices. Ultimately, you need to ask yourself, are you going to Rome for the food or to see all the attractions before time runs out? This may sound like sacrilege, but McDonald's is a convenient option. It opens early for breakfast, offers unique menu items you won't find anywhere, has affordable coffee, and the most famous and historically significant McDonald's in Rome is just a stone's throw from the Spanish Steps. The Spanish Steps rise from the heart of Rome, linking the lively Piazza di Spagna below to the historic church above. Built in the early 1700s, these 135 steps were designed to connect the Spanish and French quarters of the city, symbolizing cooperation between two European powers. At the top stands the Church of Trinita dei Monti, founded in the late 15th century after King Charles VIII of France acquired the land for a French monastery. Completed in the 1500s, the church became a symbol of France's presence in Rome. Its distinctive twin bell towers were added later, setting it apart from most Roman churches. Inside, Renaissance frescoes and artworks reflect the religious and political influence of France during this period. The church offers a great view overlooking centuries of Roman history below, a reminder that this landmark was not only a place of worship but also a statement of power, faith, and diplomacy in the heart of the eternal city. At the base of the Spanish Steps sits the Barcarcia fountain, designed by Pietro Bernini in the 1600s. Its sinking boat shape recalls Rome's historic floods and the city's deep connection to water. The Trevi fountain is more than Rome's most famous fountain. It's the dramatic endpoint of one of the city's oldest aqueducts. Its water comes from the Aqua Vigro, first built in 19 BC to supply ancient Rome with fresh spring water from the countryside. Remarkably, that same aqueduct still functions today, delivering water purely by gravity, just as it did 2,000 years ago. The fountain itself was completed in 1762, designed as a grand Baroque facade attached to Palazzo Poli. At its center stands Oceanus, riding a chariot pulled by wild horses, symbolizing the contrast between calm and chaos. The constant flow of fresh spring water gives the Trevi its clarity and motion, making it a living monument where ancient engineering and artistic spectacle come together. Visit the Trevi fountain both day and night. Daytime reveals its detail and energy, while nighttime lighting transforms it into a glowing masterpiece, quieter, calmer, and far more atmospheric. Just a short walk from the Trevi fountain, Sant'Andrea della Frate feels especially atmospheric at night. The quiet streets and soft lighting draws attention to its Baroque facade, shaped by Francesco Borromini in the 1600s, with gentle curves that seem to move even in stillness. Inside, history unfolds above you. The ceiling frescoes, completed in the 17th century, reflect the Catholic Church's use of art to teach and inspire during the Counter-Reformation. Light, perspective, and movement guide the viewer's gaze toward heaven, reinforcing themes of faith and divine order. In the calm of night, when the church is less crowded, these centuries-old paintings can be appreciated as they were intended, slowly, quietly, and with reflection. Piazza Navona stands on the site of an ancient Roman stadium, built by Emperor Domitiano. Today it's celebrated for its three fountains, the Fountain of the Four Rivers, Neptune's Fountain, and the Fountain of the Moor, showcasing Rome's Baroque artistry and love of public spaces. At the heart of Piazza Navona stands the Chiesa di Santa Agnesa in Agione, a remarkable testament to Baroque artistry, deeply intertwined with early Christian devotion. Its origins trace back to the 7th century, over the catacombs where Saint Agnes, a young Roman martyr, was buried after her execution in the early 4th century. Legend holds that her steadfast faith inspired generations, and by the 9th century, a modest church marked the sacred site. During the 17th century, under the patronage of Pope Innocent X of the powerful Pamphilj family, the church underwent a dramatic transformation. Architects Girolamo Rinaldi, Carlo Rinaldi, and ultimately Francesco Borromini contributed to its distinctive Baroque design, creating a dynamic facade that both commands attention and invites contemplation. The interior is equally profound. The vaulted ceilings, adorned with dynamic frescoes by Ciro Ferri and Baciccio, depict the martyrdom and heavenly glorification of Saint Agnes, drawing the visitor into a visual narrative of faith and sacrifice. Beyond its architectural grandeur, the church holds historical significance as a symbol of papal authority and Roman Catholic resilience during a period of intense religious and political change. It is more than just a place of worship. It is a living archive of devotion, artistic innovation, and the interplay between sacred memory and urban development in Baroque Rome. Standing in Piazza Navona, facing the church, look to your left. Just beyond the small enclosed square is one of Rome's hidden Easter eggs, Palazzo Braschi, home to the Museo di Roma. Even without stepping inside, its story begins outdoors, where historic artifacts and this ornate ceremonial coach offer a glimpse into Rome's aristocratic past. Within these walls, the museum explores daily life, art, and society from the Middle Ages through the 19th century. Known in Italian as San Luigi dei Francesi and in English as the Church of St. Louis of the French, this church stands just around the corner from the Pantheon, quietly anchoring centuries of Franco-Roman history in the heart of Rome. Completed in 1589, San Luigi dei Francesi serves as the national church of France in Rome, built to accommodate the growing French community during the Renaissance. Its construction was financed through a combination of papal support and French royal patronage, reflecting France's political and spiritual influence within the papal state. The facade, designed by Giacomo della Porta, displays restrained late Renaissance classicism, subtly signaling its national identity through statues of French saints. The church is best known for housing three masterpieces by Caravaggio, located in the Contarelli Chapel, painted between 1599 and 1600, The Calling of Saint Matthew, The Martyrdom of Saint Matthew, and Saint Matthew and the Angel mark a turning point in Baroque art. Here, Caravaggio introduced dramatic chiaroscuro and an unidealized realism that profoundly reshaped European painting. Beyond Caravaggio, the interior reflects a layered artistic program with frescoes by Domenichino and Charles Joseph Notoire, illustrating scenes from the life of Saint Louis IX, King of France. Together, these works transform the church into both a devotional space and a statement of national presence. San Luigi dei Francesi remains not only a place of worship, but a living archive of diplomacy, art, and cultural exchange between France and Rome. Located at the northern gateway of Rome, Piazza del Popolo has long served as a ceremonial point for arrival for travelers entering the city from the Via Flaminia, one of the most important Roman roads of antiquity. From ancient times, this space marked the symbolic threshold between the urban center of Rome and the lands beyond its walls. At the heart of the piazza stands the Egyptian obelisk of Ramses II, originally erected in Heliopolis in the 13th century BC. Transported to Rome by order of Emperor Augustus, it was later repositioned here in 1589 under Pope Sixtus V as part of an ambitious program of urban and spiritual reorganization. Rising over 24 meters high, the obelisk embodies Rome's imperial power and its enduring dialogue with ancient civilizations. Leaving Piazza del Popolo and moving south through Rome's historic spine, the journey follows the ancient route of the Via del Corso, passing layers of imperial, medieval, and Baroque urban life. Turning east towards the dense fabric near Piazza Navona, the city narrows, and Rome's national churches reveal themselves quietly within its streets. Hidden along Via dei Portuguesi stands the Chiesa di Sant'Antonio dei Portuguesi, known in English as the Church of Saint Anthony of the Portuguese. Founded in the early 17th century, this church served as the national church of Portugal, reflecting Rome's role as both a spiritual and diplomatic capital of early modern Europe. Though its exterior is restrained, the interior unfolds in a rich Baroque language shaped by 18th century renovations. Polychrome marbles, gilded architectural ribs, and a theatrical framed altar reflect the Counter-Reformation emphasis on emotional engagement and doctrinal clarity. The dome draws the eye upward, reinforcing themes of spiritual ascent and divine order. Dedicated to Saint Anthony of Padua, a figure deeply revered in Portuguese devotion, the church stands as a testament to Rome's international character, where faith, politics, and national identity converge within the city's hidden spaces. This is the Supreme Court of Cassation, housed in Rome's Palazzo di Giustizia, the highest authority in Italy's judicial system, ensuring the uniform interpretation of law across the nation.
Senza ammazzare, e il vento
Back at the Trevi fountain, facing the cascading water, to your right-hand side stands the Chiesa dei Santi Venancio e Anastasio, known in English as the Church of Saints Vincent and Anastasius. Despite its modern scale, this church occupies a distinctive place in Rome's religious and political history. Originally founded in the Middle Ages, the church was rebuilt in the mid-17th century under Pope Urban VIII Barberini. Its striking facade, designed by Martino Longhi the Younger, is instantly recognizable for its dense sculptural decoration. Rather than restraint, the exterior embraces an almost overwhelming display of reliefs, statues, and ornamental detail, reflecting the theatrical ambitions of Roman Baroque architecture. Historically, the church is closely associated with the papal court. For centuries, it served as the official repository for the embalmed hearts of the deceased popes, a rare practice that underscores the church's symbolic connection to papal authority and ritual memory. Inside, the decoration is comparatively restrained, directing attention away from spectacle and toward devotion. Dedicated to Saints Vincent of Saragossa and Anastasius of Persia, both early Christian martyrs, the church stands as a reminder that Rome's most famous monuments are often accompanied by quieter sites where faith, power, and history intersect. Spending a week in Rome, walking the same streets day after day, I've developed a strong sense of direction, but the city still overwhelms. There is so much to see, and yet so little time. It's often the small things that make Rome unforgettable. A tiny fountain tucked into a quiet piazza, the facade of a church that's closed, or a tower glimpsed behind a wall, inaccessible yet full of history. Even buildings you can't enter, whether privately owned or government offices, add layers to the city's story. In Rome, it's not just the famous landmarks that leave a mark, it's the fragments, the hidden detail, and the quiet corners that reveal the true soul of the eternal city. As you've probably noticed, I managed to capture some really great drone footage of Rome's landmarks. I had originally planned to bring my DJI Air 2S, but I was nervous about airport security. Instead, I bought a DJI Mini 2 SE locally in Italy, which I later resold in China. Flying in Rome was a bit nerve-wracking. I didn't want to land in hot water with the authorities, but I knew it was possible if I followed the rules. In 2023, drones under 250 grams can be flown in the EU without a pilot license. But if your drone has a camera, it must be registered with the Italian Aviation Authority, insured and fitted with metal ID plates. The official flight map is difficult to use in practice, and large parts of the city are no-fly zones. I found the best launch spots along the riverbanks, where there are fewer people and signal is strong if you fly towards the opposite bank. Early morning and late afternoon are ideal, giving you what photographers call the golden hour, and flying discreetly is key, since not every police officer may know the rules, even when you follow them perfectly. Across Rome, carved into stone and stamped onto manholes, you'll see 4 letters repeated again and again, SPQR. They stand for Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and the people of Rome. This phrase symbolized the shared authority of Rome's government, uniting its ruling Senate with its citizens. Even today, SPQR serves as a reminder that modern Rome is built directly upon its ancient foundations. According to legend, Rome's story begins in the 8th century BC with 2 twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, sons of the god Mars. Abandoned along the banks of the Tiber River, they were saved and nursed by a she-wolf, an image that became one of Rome's most enduring symbols. Raised by a shepherd, the brothers later decided to found a city near where they were rescued. However, a dispute over leadership ended in tragedy. Romulus killed Remus and became Rome's first king in 753 BC. From myth, sacrifice, and ambition, the eternal city was born. Rome is not my favorite city without reason. It is the heart of one of the longest lasting empires in human history, an empire vast in scale and enduring in influence. The stories of Julius Caesar, the roar of gladiatorial combat in the Colosseum, and the power of Roman ambition continue to echo throughout popular culture, from films to literature and computer games. For me, Rome represents the final great ancient civilization, one that forms a bridge between the mysteries of the ancient world and the society we recognize today. I first visited Rome in 2003 with my mother and father when I was only 13 years old. I remember a city alive with excavation sites where archaeologists unfolded openly on street corners and public squares. Dozens of archaeologists worked across the city, revealing layers of history beneath modern life, a sight far less common today. At the time, my father believed somewhat naively that one day was enough to experience Rome. As we passed the monument to Victor Emmanuel II, I remember wanting to go inside, only to be told no. In that moment, I made a quiet but sacred vow to myself. I would return, and I have returned, but even now I feel unfinished. Rome continues to draw me back, inviting me to bask once more in its ancient glory and to keep unlocking the secrets it still holds. Before we conclude today's tour, there are 3 important points of interest located not far from the monument to Victor Emmanuel II. The Temple of Portunus is one of the best preserved ancient temples in Rome, dating to the late 2nd century BC. Dedicated to the god of ports and harbors, it reflects Rome's early adoption of Greek architectural influence, particularly in its Ionic columns and balanced proportions. Its survival is largely due to its later conversion into a Christian church. Nearby stands the Temple of Hercules Victor, the oldest surviving marble building in Rome. Built in the 2nd century BC, its circular form draws inspiration from Greek tholos temples and highlights Hercules' significance to merchants along the Tiber. Lastly, we have the Teatro di Marcello, commissioned by Julius Caesar and completed under Augustus. This monumental theatre influenced the design of the Colosseum and stands as a lasting symbol of Rome's architectural legacy. Anyway, folks, that's all from me. Thanks for watching.